Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Fagen, Director of R&D for AIOps and Automation with Broadcom. Today, I'm going to take you through an overview of Broadcom, and then we're going to go deep into the Mainframe Division, focusing on the new WatchTower Platform. It's an observability platform designed to meet all of the observability players' needs. So a little bit of history on Broadcom. It is a company that has grown based on acquisitions over time. As you can imagine, and most people are very familiar, Broadcom is rooted in hardware, specifically in semiconductors. If you take out a phone, any phone has an average of 5 of our semiconductors in it. In 2016, we had the first conversation, or we started a conversation about where is Broadcom going to go next. It could have been the Qualcomm acquisition, but in fact, when that did not happen, Broadcom started to look at software, enterprise software to be really, really specific. And when Broadcom was looking at potential acquisitions in the software space, they came upon CA Technologies. And truly, it's because of the enterprise relationships that CA had already grown over time, specifically within the mainframe division, because so many of the large enterprises around the world continue to bet their business literally on the capabilities that are running on the mainframe. So when we were acquired, that was the first major software acquisition, which completed in 2018. And then Broadcom looks around and they said, what are the other big needs of these enterprise companies? And lo and behold, security is a huge need across all of the enterprise companies, and the Symantec acquisition occurred. There have been several other smaller acquisitions along the way, like AppNeta, and we picked up a few additional capabilities within the mainframe division as well. Most recently, and certainly all over the news, was the acquisition of VMware. Again, the focus will continue to be on the large enterprises and the capabilities that are being deployed there to run their businesses. I do want to share and overemphasize our CEO, Hock Tan's fondness for the mainframe division. He is very, very clear. I did have a privilege to meet him early on when we were first getting to know each other, and just before the acquisition, to be honest. And he knew the business top to bottom. The level of depth in his understanding of how the business runs, the importance of the mainframe, and which customers are running what was astronomical. When the acquisition occurred, he was very clear with all of us, as well as everybody in the industry, that this was a space he was going to double down on. He used that in many of the analyst calls, and he continues to state, I'm investing in the mainframe. And it's not hype, and it's not just verbiage. Every year we have grown the mainframe division. Every year since we have been acquired, we have hired over 100 people. We hire very talented, highly skilled people in the industry who are familiar with the mainframe. We hire the people that are going to help us drive our strategy forward quite quickly. A peek inside the mainframe, we're actually organized around 5 different solution areas. First one is around data management. We all know that the mainframe is carrying a ton of that corporate data. We're not talking about the pictures of cats that you're going to go Google on the internet. We're talking about your PII, most important data, about your insurance policies, about your banking applications, about how much money you have in your investment portfolio. That's what's running on the mainframe, and that data is primarily still on-prem. So managing that data, keeping it secure, that's one of our major solution areas. In the DevOps space, it's about how fast and how effectively, without creating a crisis, can you enable your developers to move. So we have a whole set within the DevOps space available for our customers to move most effectively. Security, as I mentioned with the Symantec acquisition, is a huge focus across all enterprises, and that is equally true here on the mainframe. We actually did an integration with the Symantec Enterprise Edition so that you can manage all of your mainframe credentials within the Symantec space. Not to say that you won't do it on the mainframe, we certainly continue to do that. Relative to open, we are big proponents of the Open Mainframe project. We are one of the founders of the Zoe space, and we continue to leverage open source in our own products and solutions and capabilities. Plus, we continue to donate heavily into the open source space. And then lastly, the space where we're going to focus today is AIOps. So in the AIOps space, we are heavily focused on observability, bringing the insights and the needs, the data right to the people that need it when they need it. So literally last March, we launched the WatchTower Platform. It's an observability platform designed to meet the needs of the observability players. The solution, it's about bringing that data in the context, in the moment, to the person who needs to see the data so that they don't have to go hunting all over the place to so many different areas and then try to collect, correlate, analyze, and then make a decision. We bring all the data together so that they can make really effective decisions. It's a streamlined workflow. It is a modern user interface. If my humble opinion, I've been on a lot of these user interfaces. This one is crystal clear. It navigates you right through, again, in the context of the situation that you're in. It's customized to the roles, and I'll take you through some of those in just a moment. And we also provide visibility to your enterprise observability platform. So if you're a huge Datadog shop or you're a Dynatrace shop or AppD, we don't care. If your solution, your enterprise solution is capitalizing on OpenTelemetry, we will help you fill out that solution as well. Let's meet the players. So we like to identify with who we're helping. And in the observability space, we actually have two casts of characters. I'm going to start on the left side, which is the mainframe community, where most of us had spent most of our career. We understand the space and we understand the players really, really well. On the mainframe side, there's just too many tools, and they're disjoint tools, and there's too many different places to go to. We have Ashton, who is a level 1 operator, who just is jumping all over the place trying to collect information when an issue surfaces. We have Sherman, who's the subject matter expert, who will know one space really deeply, really, really well. He'll know where all the data is for his particular space. Next up, we have Larry. Larry is actually a new character in the observability space that we just brought forward to solve for his needs at this share. Larry's job is to optimize the performance of the applications and optimize the resources that those applications are using at the same time. This is very distinct from the days of old of doing capacity management over here and doing performance monitoring over here. These spaces have come together for Larry. Now on the right side, we have a different cast of observability characters. We have Priya, who's responsible for the lines of business. She is responsible for a set of services that she wants to make sure are up and running all the time. And on Priya's team, she has a bunch of site reliability engineers. That's a newer role, but it's greatly expanded. And if you check out LinkedIn, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of site reliability engineers. Their job is to focus on those business services and make sure they continue on without interruption. But they're not mainframe experts. They're running their day-to-day in Datadog or Dynatrace or AppD or even in Splunk. So that's where they're spending their time. To have them transition their work over to a mainframe solution is too big of a leap for them. So we're going to enable them by bringing them the mainframe data in a context they already understand, in a workflow that they're already leveraging. And continuing on in the overview, here's how we're helping Ashton, the level 1 operator. For Ashton, as I said, he's going all over the place to try to collect data. He's going to an average of 8 different systems for every single alert that he is trying to resolve. Instead of Ashton having to go all over the place, we've brought that data together in context. This specific example happens to be a Kix alert. So Kix is running short on storage, and so we've displayed all of the subpools and the amount of storage that they're contained. We told you where they're running hot. We have all of the Kix tasks running below. We also show you all of the related alerts. So if you've had an alert that's similar to this in the past, we'll tell you what that related alert was, and then you can look at that alert to see how it was resolved, which makes it a whole lot more effective to resolve this one. And of course, if you find yourself doing that pattern over and over and over again, you're going to automate it. You're going to figure out how to not have to handle that alert so many times. We continue to bring more data into the alert with the machine learning insights. So that middle section, that's where we're looking at the metrics, and we're going to tell you when we first started to trend out of norm. So we'll let you know, oh, something changed here. The behavior pattern is not what it was, the previous week or the previous month. And we'll try to focus on just getting people to focus on where the change occurred. And that's really important because, again, what happened at that point in time. On the far right, we have the auto discovery of your infrastructure topology. And let me emphasize, it is the auto discovery of your infrastructure topology. It is not the case that you have to define a policy and then we kind of like decorate it. No, we are discovering the infrastructure topology. We will take you from your sysplex to your systems, to your CICS regions, to where the CICS regions are running, to your CICS transaction level as they hop across the different regions, across the different systems. We will connect that to your DB2 plans and packages. We will tell you the underlying storage and we will tell you the programs. All of this auto-discovered. Now, in the moment of an issue, you don't want that big, huge map, right? Because it's going to be way too detailed. So we will give you the portion of the topology that is most relevant to the alert you're looking at. If it's a particular CICS region or a particular CICS transaction, we will show you that. Of course, you can then change the filters and augment it and change it as you see fit. The game changer with this is that when there is a big issue that needs to be solved, historically, or in the past, before WatchTower, you had to bring in a whole bunch of SMEs and put them in front of a wall or a whiteboard, and they're detailing out how the systems are actually connected. Now they have a shared virtual space where it's all auto-discovered for them, which puts them on the same page immediately.
So, a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you just answered one of them. This is the WatchTower product.
Yes, ma'am.
So where is this a SaaS product? Where does this actually live, especially because you've got one in the middle that has ML?
Yes. So this is running on-prem. So customers have access to the whole platform. They will run it on-prem. They could choose to run it. It's running primarily on an x86 machine, so they could choose to run it in the cloud if they chose to do that, or they could run it in the on-prem machine. It is not a SaaS AAS offering.
And so the ML is all baked into the product, though? It doesn't have to reach out any place to do any?
Correct. We are leveraging our own data. We have our own data streams and we have our own proprietary algorithms. On the algorithms, we did get terabytes and terabytes of data from multiple different customers in order to vet the heck out of those algorithms. And we would get their data, we would stream it through, and then we would play it back for the customers and say, this is where we noticed this is where we noticed this. Do those make sense to you? Would they be something that would be of interest? And that's how we validate our algorithms.
Okay.
Right. So as soon as we put out that auto discovery of the topology, this really interesting thing happens. Customers get their hands on it and they do what they do. And the first thing that they said was, oh my goodness, you really have discovered my whole infrastructure. Can I have this data made available so that I can put it into my CMDB? Every single customer across the planet unanimously will tell us that they have a CMDB and it's close to being rubbish and it's really outdated. And when they have a problem, they go to look at it and it doesn't have the information they need or it's backdated. With topology, right after customers asked that, we made sure that the data was exportable automatically and they can send it to their CMDB of choice. And now that is automated and accurate. As I mentioned, we introduced Larry just this week. And Larry is, as I mentioned, focused on optimizing the performance of the application and the resources. These are not two different distinct conversations. Larry's really got to look at them both. And this is a paradigm shift from the days of old where everybody was trying to manage to that darn rolling 4-hour average, which was like, what? And so you would move your workloads all over the place to not go over that peak so that you could minimize your cost. Now you run where you run and you're trying to overall optimize your investments. What Larry has been dealing with is a lack of visibility into the applications that are running on the mainframe. So you could see them over here in the cloud or your on-prem, your distributed pieces, and you know it went to the mainframe, but what happened over there, I don't know, but it comes back and life goes on. There's a lack of visibility. When the application developers want to go update their applications, they're really nervous They might even get the jitters, right? They're like, I don't really want to hit enter on this or have it move to the next realm because I don't know everything that this module is going to impact. What are the downstream impacts? How many different times is this module called? It's a big challenge and again, highly risk averse. In the performance and resource space, you have a view, again, people just picked an isolated view instead of looking all the way across what an application was costing. You really want to have the whole picture of the CPU utilization, elapsed time, and so on, rather than having, I spent this much time in kicks and I spent this much time in DB2, and then you're trying to add up all the disjoint pieces. And then lastly, we want to accelerate root cause analysis in the heat of the moment. We want to understand what really changed. So with all of that, again, just this week, just yesterday, we launched the WatchTower Application Profiler, which allows you to visualize all of your applications running on the mainframe. So the profiler is quite simple and quite elegant. We'll detect all the modules that are called on the mainframe. We'll tell you how many times they're called. We'll tell you who they are called by. We will tell you how much CPU is consumed by the modules when they run. We'll tell you a total amount of CPU that a particular module consumes. We'll let you know that elapsed time. We will tell you when it was last compiled and the compiled version. With that information, for the first time, we have the ability to identify where we want to make a modernization. It could be the simple recompile conversation of, I'm running on COBOL 4.blah, and I should really be running on COBOL 6.blah, and I'm going to get this super savings by going through recompiling. It could be that you have one module that's called a gazillion times, and you want to focus and streamline that specific module because you know it's called so many times. Or it could be the one that's not called so often, but gosh, when it is called, it's a total hog. So you're going to spend some time focusing on that particular application. Again, all of that was released with the application profiler just yesterday. One more observability player on the mainframe side where we are spending some of our time just now, and that is Sherman. Sherman is the subject matter expert. Again, he knows something and he knows it really well. He knows where the data is. He knows how to grab the data. He's even figured out when this metric changed, these other 4 metrics are probably going to change. And he's looking at things in ways that other people unfamiliar with the area would ever possibly consider looking at the data. But today, he's spending all this time figuring out how to set up dashboards, and you have to be a SQL expert, and you have to know where that data is in order to set up that visibility. Our next capability that we're bringing to market will be around custom dashboards, and it allows you to have the visibility. We will go by each domain and reveal, here's all the data that you could have, and we'll give it to you in a progressive revealing way, and we'll allow customers to be able to further customize it. So if there's something you want at the top, or you don't want a bar chart and you want a pie chart, you can pick however you want to visualize and what is the most meaningful to you. And you can add data from different domains and bring them together as you move forward. It's quite simple to simply select the metric and then pick the graph. The distinction from doing something like Grafana today is you actually have to know how to code SQL in order to get an effective Grafana dashboard. Whereas with our dashboard solution that's coming with WatchTower, you don't have to know how to code those SQLs. You don't have to know how the tables are organized inside of your database.
The database, Nicole, sits on the mainframe.
The database is ClickHouse.
Okay.
Yes, and it's going to be sitting off mainframe, so we're sending off platform.
And what you do, just stream raw records or SMF records, or?
It's a mix. So our customers have used our foundational products for years and years and years, and they know that there's a whole lot of data in there. So we've enabled that data to stream across and land in the ClickHouse database, so we can capture that. And we capture the SMF data as well, because we know that the best view is going to be a complement of the two.
Okay.
All right. So one more of our players, and this is the player that's on the enterprise side. This is Kelly, our site reliability engineer, and she is super focused on those business services and ensuring that they're able to run. Today, as I mentioned, Kelly can't really see into the mainframe. However, with the WatchTower platform, and specifically with the integrable real-time information streaming, we call it ZIRIS, an eye, right? You can see it. So we call it ZIRIS, and we allow Kelly to be able to see into the mainframe at a level of depth that she hasn't been able to see historically. And we do that in the context of a solution she is already familiar with. So she'll have the traces and the metrics available in whatever enterprise observability platform Kelly is already running in. So to summarize, there's 5 major capabilities right now inside of the WatchTower platform that customers can readily take advantage of. They are all integrated together in a seamless fashion to create that cohesive experience. Again, huge distinction from going to isolated, siloed products in the days of old. Our architecture, almost an architecture picture. You can see that the core products that are already deployed, well used, super integrated, irreplaceable, are being capitalized on. So if you're using Ops MVS for automation, we capitalize on that existence. The same for SysView and the system performance, NetMaster for network, and so on down the line. We will grab the insights out of that space. And to what you were asking, Mark, you can see we grab the SMF data as well.
So what if I've not got a total Broadcom solution? And I know this is a terrible thing to say, but what about if I've got systems automation on that left-hand box? Can I get data in a format and send it to you anyway?
You can. We do have an open API philosophy where, okay, the whole platform is open. So to where you're headed, yes, other third parties can integrate into the platform. They can send alerts. They can capitalize on the ZIRIS portion of us sending data out, and they can take advantage of it. We have API enabled all of the foundational products. Significant investment to API enable those foundational products so that customers can grab the data in the context they need. A lot of that has been to do runbooks or to do their automated ticketing solutions. We also leverage open source, another way that we're open, and we'll continue to move down that path going forward. The part in the middle is where we take advantage of API ML. It's one of the Zoe capabilities. And we also take care of, capitalize on certificate management and a common UI framework. That common UI framework is incredibly modern. A little bit later today, you're going to see some of those demos and you'll get a feel for just how to interact with them. And then on the top, you can see the capabilities that are already released and what's coming next as we just talked through. And then here, not too long back, Mohesh Punjabi, who's one of the executives at Morgan Stanley, we were working through some problems and he's like, I need to be able to transition my teams from being reactive to being proactive. And with the visibility that the WatchTower platform is bringing to market, that enables that transition to be that much faster. And then key for us, we moved to a continuous delivery model several years ago. So we're adding new features and capabilities into the solutions that customers have already invested in. And the same is true of the entire WatchTower platform. So our customers who own one or more of our intelligence SKUs are already entitled to the WatchTower platform, which makes accessing and consumption and proof of concept lickety-split really fast because they already have it on day one. That is equally true of the application profiler that we released just yesterday. Are there any questions I can help you with?
I'm coming from a point of ignorance, but there are various personas that you've just described very lucidly. But what market data has driven you to determine that that's the persona that you need to support now? You know, why do those people now exist in the organizations that you're serving as opposed to a different type of role, say 10 years ago?
every role evolves as IT does. We are very fortunate to have strategic partners and great relationships with our largest customers. So we spend a lot of time understanding exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it today, where they're getting blocked, where they're wasting time, and then together we identify how we're going to build out a solution. And then we further validate it with those customers going forward. That includes identifying those personas and talking through deeply what are their specific pain points. I mean, we even get creative and get to their level of, what are they really interested in, right? Or if you could have A, B, or C, which ones would they prioritize? Right. So that's been a game changer for us, is having those relationships.
Yeah. Now that depth of clarity seems quite crucial here, but it's also quite compelling.
Thank you. Thank you.